Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Unstable connection. That doesn't make any sense. Fancy seeing you here. Is it just me, or does it crack you up when you see The Weeknd doing an espresso commercial? I mean, get it, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all about make your money, buddy, but it's just funny as hell. Yeah, yeah. This TikTok is hostile to me. Yeah, yeah. They do not want me here. And when I say they, everybody's like, "Oh, it's the MAGA." It's not. It's really not, y'all. It's really not. Morning, Debs. It's really not like you, like the audience. It's TikTok. Um, the funny thing is, I actually think, oh, I don't want to say that because I don't want to sound arrogant. Um, when you talk about someone, they listen. Does that make sense? Like when you say someone's name, there's a pretty high likelihood they're gonna see it. So, I made a video today saying fuck Mike Lee. Mike Lee is the reason that the sale of public lands was in this big reconciliation bill. Yeah, Zeke, we were back there yesterday. Yeah, when you watch certain creators as well. And for the record, um, I try not to sit around and just consume, right? And I try to keep my interests broad. The fuck? But I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you're able to find some happiness kind of despite what's going on around you. Might I recommend movies and TV shows and video games? You know, some comments from Bold and Smart. Oh, good. Oh, it's a million times worse, milady. Milady. Um, if your comment has curse words or in any way seems derogatory, TikTok straight up blocks it. And I get notifications that say like comments have been censored. And it's like, what, I'm not even getting 100% of what is being sent my way. And then some of this stuff is hidden. So this person right here, oh no, never mind, I just scrolled up too high. But yeah, sometimes you comment and it gets hidden and I can see it, but nobody else can see it. So it's like there's three different conversations happening in my chat. Yeah, 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 yeah. How dare we criticize the government? I just want to point out that Trump's administration and all of his fans talked about how we're all snowflakes and fuck your feelings. And I just want to point out this administration's passing rules because their feelings are getting hurt. Like, how the fuck you gonna call me a snowflake and then cry when I make fun of you? I thought you were bullying me. Aw. And one of the problems I have with TikTok that to totally pile on, because TikTok sucks. Um, Yeah. Zeke said, I want us to last the whole month. That's the goal. Well, Zeke, so we we've been banned 6 times. 6 times. Once for a month. That was because some people stole some content. For the record, if you have you ever heard Aaron Parnas talk about where he gets his stories and where he decides what's important? He steals it. No attribution. And why? Because what he does is he scrolls TikTok until he gets a consensus of what are people talking about right now. And then it's sort of like you want to be hitting the thumb on what people are talking about, but you also want to make sure that you're talking about shit that people ain't talking about, right? So that's one of the things about content creation. I'm not a content creator. I went to school for this. One thing I refuse to do is I refuse to use my education to be a content creator. I'm not monetizing shit. I'm not interested in views. I don't care about that shit. You know what I care about? I care about showing an example every single day, whether you like me or not, whether you're on TikTok or you're on YouTube or we're on Clapper because TikTok's got its head up its fucking ass. Okay? Doesn't matter where we are. I'm here every fucking day. Right? Yesterday is the first time in 7 fucking months that I was late. And I was late because right before I went live, my wife asked me to do a couple things. And I don't know about y'all. I don't know how your relationships work. But if I prioritize my wife, I get to live. So we'll be 5 minutes late. I'm here, still here. And that was supposed to be a joke about like if I hadn't, then I wouldn't be here. Uh, just like I carry a lot of the weight now, my wife has carried a lot of the weight too, at times. She's picked me up when I've fallen. You'd be a great Green Lantern, the will is strong. Yeah, so I show you an example every single day of somebody showing up, no matter what's going on in the world, smile on their face, talking about what is actually going on in the world without like me getting so personally upset that it affects our relationship. You know, one of the things that you'll notice if you decide ever to venture over to YouTube, those same people that have been sitting in that chat have been doing it for 7 fucking months, right there with me. So I want to make sure I say today, hey, to all my consistent support, I appreciate you. I see you, fam. Without you, there's no me. Without you, I'm just singing into the void. I started the American Socialist Party not because I want to run for public office, not because I want fame and fortune. I want none of those things. Do you know what I mostly do? I mostly play video games. Right now I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 with my wife. It's an online, massively multiplayer online RPG. It's fucking incredible. That would be the best way to describe that. But it's even better because every now and then I'll be in a fight and I'll be like, man, I'm getting my ass kicked. And my wife will slide in and heal, but it's actually called physic. And you're just like, fuck, that's why you pay them big dollars. Um, but yeah. And it's Bob's birthday today. So if uh if you've ever been on YouTube in the YouTube chat and chatted it up, Crush. Crush, you're everywhere but there. I appreciate you, fam. It's about 30 people watching total, maybe 25. Hey, make sure you control what you can control. Get 8 hours of sleep a night. You gotta eat right and exercise and drink water too. 'Cause shit, I'm everywhere. Bwahaha. But what can you really do? Right? What can you really do? I think we're past the point of being iffy on protest. I think we're at the point now where the only people not attending protests are people that need to be placed on a fucking watch list. I'll say it. Can't watch your lives. Huh. What if I just did that? And what if I sit in relative darkness? Touch of health. I'm just kidding, can't do it. But I could turn the fan off. I didn't know the fan was bothering you. I kind of think I need to do something up here, but I'll turn the fan off. You're the first person to say anything. I've been doing it for like a long time. It'll stop moving eventually. It's no longer powered. I had no idea. I wish you'd have said something earlier. Joanne asked, why are they putting up fences in Washington? So the rumor is Donald Trump is going to fire the Senate parliamentarian and replace it with his own, in order to jam through his bill. This is because he can't legislate. This is because uh, you should make yourself comfortable. Yeah. So the thing about it that people aren't realizing, it still has to go back through the House. Every time Jay turns off the light, Bruce saves a life. Yeah. So know that this big reconciliation bill, even if it passes, it still has to go back through the House. So you got to download the Five Calls app. You got to call your reps and your senators. And you know why? Because I posted a video in our Discord. And again, one thing that I feel really good about, I don't know how you feel. I know that it makes it hard to grow the show because, oh, I'm not marketable because I'm not like holding up somebody's product, right? Um, but again, that's not my intent. I don't need the money. Like, if I needed it, I'd ask. Otherwise, like, what am I really trying to make money doing, right? Opining, whining out loud, like, it's okay. They do complain when you fill up their voicemail boxes. And writing them letters, typing out a letter and sending it in is the most OG form of dressing down your leadership ever. And this is Milady. The thing I can assure you is you haven't made more phone calls than me. Nobody has. That shit, my phone sits on dial on five calls all day while I'm at work. It has for months. I will never stop. I will never stop addressing my government as the public servant they are. They work for me, just like the cops. The cops work for me, right? I don't work for you. I pay for a whole person's job. That's how much I pay in taxes a year. Yeah, Rick Scott doesn't answer anything. Yeah. Call your Is Bob here? Hey, 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 happy birthday to Bob. Bob is already my best friend. Bob, for no other reason than he knows that I love basketball. Basketball is my first love. He sent me. and I still have it. I just haven't aired it up, Bob. I have dogs. They'll destroy it. But he sent me in the mail. He was like, "Hey, can I send this to you? Look at this. It's a 1991 Final Four. It's just a little basketball, but that's the cutest thing anybody's ever done for me ever. I mean, I guess my aunt used to go to garage sales and buy me the big, thickest book she could find and be like, your smart ass would tell me if it's good or not. I guess if you consider that sweet. So I just want to make sure on Bob's birthday that we say, like, Bob is a better friend than I've had. Hey, good morning, everybody. What's up, Brad? Empress? Or shall I just call you Val? I don't know if Empress is a title or not. But yeah, just know that there's no way this bill passes by July 4th. And it is making a 930, thank you, $930 million cut to Medicaid. And so we're gonna spend a portion of the show like every day where I sit here and fucking cry out loud about how this reconciliation bill is gonna close a lot of small hospitals and clinics. It's gonna put a lot of people out of work. Uh, for those of you that are always thinking about the landlords, oh no, the landlords will not be able to collect their rent if you've closed down the hospitals and clinics. I try to think about people like my mother, right? Who voted for this. So she's getting what she voted for potentially, and while that would be fucking sweet, it would be awful. Okay. Um, Remember, as I've said many times, justice does not come in the form that you think it does. There are so many people that are hoping that time, literal time, or will end FDT. Justice. People are like, justice will get him, or time will get him. And I just think maybe it's neither. And I want to make sure I tell my audience that we called it Justice's Waiting Room for a reason, and that's because one of the things that I saw, but even before the election, that I was like, oh no, is that even before the election, people were starting to call for the of FDT, and it's like, whoa, no, 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 because if you get what you want, you martyr him and you risk people trying to copycat him. The thing that you have to see, that you have to use your eyeballs and see, is how wildly unpopular this regime is, even among its own voters. How wildly unpopular this reconciliation bill is, even though voters vote for this. This is what they want. They wanted this mean assness. It's what everyone appeared to want. A violent justice system, right? One bent on stopping peaceful protest. And people want their police departments and their FBI agents working with ICE, even though they don't have any money. Even though they don't have real bullets in their guns and they don't have real permits. Warrants. Sorry, I misspoke. Keep in mind, ICE operates with a administrative warrant that they make in-house. Hello, they do not have a judicial warrant. And keep in mind, there's a rumor, and this could end up being like a way bigger story, but I think the problem is we're too quick to disassociate shit. I'm about to associate some shit and let everybody else figure it out after I make a big damn mess. Okay? So here's me doing my Donald Trump, but from the left. Uh, I can connect some dots. On Friday night, I saw a TikTok where a girl was monitoring ICE flights, and she noticed they were staying airborne and just flying out into the middle of the ocean and turning around and coming back home. Step one. Step two. I watched a video of people shackled getting on a cargo plane. You know, the kind that have the doors that can open and you could still fly and you could let shit fall out of an airplane. One of those rear hatched aircraft, cargo aircraft. And then, so that's step one. Step one was, I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a little kid. So the fact that I grew up and I'm an adult now, and now there are adults that sit around and track flights, like I fuck with y'all. Okay, some of these people are my friends. They're in our Discord too. Okay, but they sit around and track these flights. Now, I watched the video, and again, it could all be like made up. This could all be made up. I'm willing to admit that this could all be made up, but I'm connecting some fucking dots because I'm tired. I'm tired of being like, there's no way those things are connected and real. That there is a fucking trail of evidence a mile long that directly connects the President of the United States with rendition, which is the trafficking and kidnapping of the peoples, loading them chained together and shackled onto a cargo aircraft, flying out over the ocean, and fucking kicking them out the back door. And I just want to point out that those things are not flown by robots, and that I'm pretty sure it's a Velo Airlines is still like the major airline in play. And oh man, if those are U.S. government aircraft. Oh man, this would directly tie the President of the United States with the death of potentially Americans. Because understand that this administration has ICE currently, by the way, they took in like 40,000 people in like a 2 week period. Currently has about 100,000 people. Running out of money, ICE has 100,000 people captive, half of whom have never committed a crime, and a certain percentage of those are American citizens. There are a good 40 plus people in here. I'm sure if somebody felt like, Jared, that's too loose, those stories may be near each other, but connecting them is too much for me. I just want you to know that I disagree with you vehemently. You think this is beyond the pale? I'd argue right up his alley. But know that there had to be a pilot, co-pilot, and other people on those aircraft willing to commit those atrocities. And again, I would tell you that none of this is legal. And I was just following orders is not, that can't be your defense. So yes, Donald Trump, say it. Say yes, Donald Trump could very well. No, no. That was, I mean, understand if you root for the New England Patriots, if you root for the New England Patriots, they used, ICE was using the New England Patriots jet. They chartered their jet to fly people to Guatemala or Guantanamo and El Salvador. So just know if you go watch a football game, and the best part about this is I fucking hate the Patriots with the fire of a thousand. I'm a Colts fan. You see this shit in the background? I used to be a Vox Media employee. I don't know if you've ever seen this TikTok, but I actually worked for Vox for 6 years covering the Indianapolis Colts for Stampede Blue. So I don't know if you've ever seen me from this angle. This is the YouTube angle. So you guys are just over here on TikTok. Carol Sue, that's literally what I was just saying. Is I watched a video of people in shackles getting on a cargo aircraft. I saw a video on Friday of people that track flights, and they said, "Hey, these these ice flights are just flying out into the middle of the ocean and doing a U-ey and coming back." And then bodies are washing up on the shore on these resorts. Yep. Clearly Zeke, uh, Stephen Miller has some childhood trauma and also yeah, okay, that's fine. So yeah, I've seen a lot of content creators tiptoe around it, and I'm like 6'4" and like 300 pounds. I ain't tiptoeing around shit. You get what I'm saying? Like the problem that I have is there's too many. I've watched too many videos of people being like, this happened and this happened and this happened, but they're not related. And you're like, what? Why are you saying it like that? Why do people keep making content and they're like, "Hey, this thing happened and this thing happened and this thing happened, but they're not related." And you're like, "Why'd you say it like that?" Hey, this is me with 50 people watching me. This should be sounding alarm bells. People are unwilling to say it and connect the dots because they're afraid of the consequences. I have an appointment tomorrow to see a man about a yes, yes, crush. Jerry said they confirmed the bodies were from Spain, a common area where people are trying to deport from afar. I think it's a little early to have conducted an autopsy on multiple people. It's too soon. Those bodies washed up in the last week. Think you mean to tell me they already conducted an autopsy and they already know where them people are from? Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Takes time. Takes time. Yeah. Yeah. Like I want to point out they're saying like people are refugees. Why the fuck would refugees be chained together? Are you stupid? Do you know what a refugee is? Who's gonna do the testing? Who's gonna report it? If I understand, what shores did they wash up on? Is that they weren't American shores, right? It was like Jamaica or Puerto Rico or Cuba or something. Hey, as I've said, especially if you don't look like me, Yeah, I'm not looking at another TikToker to validate something for me. Do you understand? Nope. Just like I'm not gonna let mainstream media tell me what to think or feel, I'm also not gonna let a fucking TikToker do it either. You know what I mean? I can just say with 100% confidence that that is totally something Donald Trump would do. And if you disagree with what I just said based on those events, and I don't care if he had a hand in it or not, it's not beneath him. Stop saying it is. Stop acting like this isn't totally something Donald Trump would fucking tell someone to do. Especially when you don't have money and you're trying to fucking fly people to foreign countries and they don't have any money. How are they paying these countries to take them in? Oh, they can't, you tell me. They can't. And somebody sat and flight tracked and said, "Hey, these ice flights they're not landing. They're just flying around in circles and going back." And then I did watch them shackled get onto those airplanes. And then they did show me shackled people washing up ashore having drowned. And as I've said, this is totally up their alley. Oh, for sure. For sure. And I've had some conversations lately that are leading to me, sharing this story with you and then saying this is why I wouldn't call myself a Democrat in a million motherfucking years. Okay? This is one of the head Democrats right here. Kirsten Gillibrand launched a shockingly racist tirade. Yeah. Hey, and look how ugly she is. That's what I want to point out. When I see when I see y'all faces, I'm like, "Oh, look how finely you're aging." And when I see motherfuckers like Kirsten Gillibrand, when I look her dead in the eye and I'm like, "Oh yeah, she's dead." And when I say like she's dead inside, you know what I mean? I had never heard of yeah, I'd never even heard globalize the Intifada. I had never even heard. I didn't even know what that was until Zoran Mamdani got elected and Kirsten Gillibrand ran her fucking mouth. Yep. Meanwhile, Zoran Mamdani says we should not have billionaires, and I fucking agree with you. I say once you become a billionaire, you get committed. The only way you do that is psychosis. Think about how many people you gotta fuck over to become a billionaire. And think about how there's almost no billionaires that get good press. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah, no ethical billionaires. So I don't know about y'all, but I long ago stopped aspiring to great wealth. I long ago I was like, wait a minute. Everyone I know is fucking miserable. Every single person I know is in hell. Literally, they're miserable all the time. And you ask them, what's wrong? And they're constantly chasing a dollar. And under the guise of, the fuck bitches get money movement, or I got bills to pay, mouths to feed, right? Yeah. hmm What happens is the first time you hurt someone and get away with it, you realize that, well, fuck. And then you see how much your paycheck is, and you're like, oh, I guess I got to keep doing that shit and just keep swallowing that and just keep fucking people over. hmm Oh, and you know what I've learned lately? So money's getting tighter for people. I'm talking to people that have been pushed past the I can afford to continue to do this point and I have to make a change. It certainly makes my job easier. Um, but trust that ain't nothing in this world for free. Yeah. Except universal healthcare in 33 of 34 developed countries. Nothing in this world's free except for your education through MIT, the Ivy League schools, what do we say? The University of Virginia, the University of Texas, all have free programs if you make under a couple $100,000 as a household. Matter of fact, I think I might go to Harvard and say, look, I was wildly unfocused, but now I know what I want. I want a political poli sci degree from fucking Harvard. That sounds hot. And I'm gonna pass the bar too. But I don't have any intentions of being a lawyer. Ain't nothing in this world but me. I know, and I was going off of what you said. Yeah. That's Ain't No Rest for the Wicked. It's a song. Those were song lyrics that my birthday buddy and I were singing to each other in the chat. hmm every bag chaser I've ever met has no soul. You're absolutely fucking right. Yep. Too many people that gave up on some shit. You'll run into a bag chaser, you'll become friends with a fucking bag chaser, and you'll go to their house to hang out with a bag chaser, and then you'll catch them playing fucking guitar. And they absolutely fucking rip on a fucking guitar. And you're like, hey, what happened? What? Like, look at this. You got this fucking incredible talent. Where did this come from? And then they tell you about a dream they had that they gave up on. And you're just like, what? But you got like all this money in this house and this stuff. What are you talking about? Like, you're super talented. You should be playing. Why aren't you playing? And they say, well, I sold my soul for $1. Don't you see? I owe on this house and these toys. And you're like, oh. So I've met people that have straight up sold their fucking soul. For sure. That are a brilliant artist or a brilliant musician or poet or writer, and they gave all that shit up for the 9 to 5. Normally, though, the talented people that gave that up, they gave it up for like a high paying job and some consistency in their life and the ability to live in one place and have some peace in one place for a period of time. So, but yeah, I and he moved to Nashville. That's how talented of a musician he is. But I remember when he was a bag chaser. Yeah, remember he was just trying to get a bag. And he invited me over to his house and he showed me that he could really play a fucking guitar. And I was just like, what the fuck? Why aren't you making millions of dollars doing that? And he gave it all up for the bag, for this house, for these toys. And I mean, he owed on all of it, and he gave that all up to move to Nashville. Oh yeah, sold everything. hmm So I know for a fact, like money can't make you happy. I know for a fact. I've hung out with, like I hung out with a guy. Here's me telling you way more than I should, but I hung out with a guy. I went to I got offered a gig for security. Stacy Marie said, speaking of guitar, my husband is the rhythm guitar player for a band called Rhythm Dust. And you can find them on YouTube. He's the bald guy. That's actually pretty cute. Rhythm Dust. There's about 50 people, combined audiences watching. That is like a large AA meeting. So I want to thank you for your addiction to me. I'm just kidding. But I appreciate that you're here. There are some people here that are like, hey, weren't you supposed to play in a Magic tournament yesterday? And the answer is yes. I was supposed to play in a Magic tournament yesterday, and the cards that I ordered did not come in time. Um, Thank you. Thank you, Zeke. So I will be, I believe, traveling this month. Let's see where we are this month. If anybody remembers where we are in July. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. I think July is Nerd Rage Gaming month. NRG series. Let me go look at their events. Okay. Okay, hold on. What if I hit this button? Somebody needs to tell them that a button on their website's broken. July 19th, St. Paul, Minnesota. It's modern though. I don't know that I'm doing that. And that's on my birthday. I doubt I'm doing that. I'm not going to Minneapolis. I don't know. But I might go. Oh, let's see. Hold on before I open my mouth and insert my foot. Okay. Late August is Orlando. I hate to do that. 2 weeks in a row. They're in August. 10K Standard Showdown Saturday, uh, August 23rd in Lansing, Michigan. Hmm. We'll think about it. Because the one in August I would actually go to has multiple events. Let's see what's going on at SCG Con Orlando. Standard, 9 a.m., 9 rounds. 18 match points goes to day two. Yeah. And one of the things I think that we need to talk about as a community, a group of people, is how we operate with religious tolerance, specifically around candidates of a different religion than what we're kind of used to. Um, this is absolutely in reference to Mamdani being a Muslim. Okay. First of all, there's no perfect religion. Okay. And one of the things that I learned growing up in the Methodist church is that he who lives in a glass house should not throw rocks. And so if you are a Christian or if you're whatever and you have a problem with a Muslim because of their religion, it's because you are unable to take accountability and look inward. Hmm. Hmm. Inward, not the N word. Inward, like in towards yourself. Look inwards. Understand that there are bad Christians, there are bad Jewish people, there are bad Muslims. Um, the overarching thing that I would say is that if you're to maintain your faith, you kind of and I think this goes across faiths too. I think you're supposed to think of yourself as like a representative of your deity, kind of across the board. I'm trying to think of a religion that doesn't want you to think of yourself as like a Christian and that you're not supposed to like proselytize, right? Aren't you supposed to tell the world, make a joyful noise, right? But do they? Other than the fucking little kids and knocking your door and shit from LDS? Other than that, but do they make a joyful noise? Do you? Oh, it's crazy. Same thing could be said for a Muslim or a Jew. It's like, have you ever heard any of them be a good representative for their faith? And it's like, no, I haven't. I've only ever been introduced to the violent ones. I've only ever been introduced to the ones that are a martyr, either martyred themselves or were martyred. Great representatives of their faith. Think about who's a great representative of like Christianity, and you're like, oh, well, they were brutally murdered and crucified, and right. But one of the things that I've seen lately that makes me happy is elected U.S. government officials have started telling people to withhold their federal income tax. Um, this is coming from the government is saying they choke their money. All those people um, that are in power, they gotta have money to operate. If we stop paying federal taxes, my wife had already done that. Hmm. She talks to a tax person and was it basically they said if you stop paying federal income tax, you'll draw even at the end of the year based on your wages. Hmm. Are you a follower of Christ Jesus? No, I'm an adult. Welcome to the real world. In the real world, I tell you that while I grew up in the Methodist Church and I was confirmed in the Methodist Church, that Jesus is a figment of our collective imagination, and that story, that born of a virgin birth, um, no, no, it doesn't. So my faith, depending on whether or not you want to be around me or not gonna happen. No, 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 no. I uh I have a respect for other people's opinions and their your faith, but I'm also going to tell you what I know. The only reason you know who Jesus is because of Josephus. So if it weren't for Josephus, who was a Roman librarian that saved a lot of documentation when the Roman libraries burned, you wouldn't know who Jesus is. So people would sit and ask if I know Jesus, and I would just immediately respond with, "Oh, I know Jesus very well. Do you know Josephus?" Most people do not know who Josephus is. Most people will spend their whole life in a church and not know who Josephus is. And understand that the story of Jesus' virgin birth and his life and his death largely had been repeated thousands of times prior to Jesus under other names. Uh, and it just so happens that when Rome fell, a librarian kind of saved the paper, if you will. And in those papers uh, are, I believe, the Beatitudes, if I remember correctly. He basically saved whole books that make up the Bible. So, if you ask me, do I believe in Jesus? Yeah, I actually do. I actually think there was a guy that great, and they really did crucify him. Yep. There was an anti-capitalist, pacifist, socialist as fuck, brown man thousands of years ago, flipping the tax collectors' tables at the churches. And yes, he totally got fucking crucified by Pontius Pilate. Uh-huh. And the Romans. Yes. Absolutely. I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt. I have no fucking doubt that there has been a great person named Jesus in our and you think about how common Jesus is as a name, and it's like, eh, eh, there was probably a dude named Jesus. That was great. hmm But his like story, that like whole born of a virgin birth type shit, thousands and thousands of times before that. It's just they didn't have great methods of. So you understand, like the reason you know about Jesus is because of the printing press, right? Not because like Jesus is like this such super unique fucking character in the course of history in the world. And no, he's not. It's actually really common. It's really common to have a deity born of virgin birth. If you want to be real about that, there's like 2,700 known instances of a deity prior to Jesus that was born of a virgin birth. So that's not even like an original origin story. And you gonna base our relationship on whether or not I believe that bullshit? Oh, miss me with that shit. Yeah. Someone with the name Wanted in Five States is telling me that Jesus is my Lord. hmm Good luck with that shit. Yeah, damn it, I'm late. Sorry for the language. No, we're doing great. They voted in by the Council of. Mm. Alice said, anyways, I'm an atheist. They're starting to protest alligator Alcatraz in yell out Jesus. Someone in here is new. Is someone is new here and unaware of how you were raised. Yeah. First Council of Nicaea. So I don't know how to mention people. I don't think you can do it in the YouTube chat. Somebody gave me a hat. That's our live goal achieved. I think we made it about an hour without getting banned on TikTok. You hear what happened in northern Idaho last night? Yeah. And Jared, do you ever find it frustrating that all of us had it so easy? Delve a little deeper on that thought. What do you mean? I mean, I can speak on some relative ease, but like I want to make sure we're on the same wavelength. So keep talking. So what had happened was, I believe there was a fire. So they called the fire department. And the fire department showed up, started putting out a fire, and snipers started shooting at the firemen, killed the firemen. And more people showed up and they got shot. hmm I mean, if you haven't played Far Cry 6, I think it's Far Cry 6. In the beginning of Far Cry 6, it talks about the northwest part of the United States and how if you've never been to the hills of Oregon, then you would never know how many communities are just nestled in the deep woods, way away from everybody. And if you want to know what a breeding ground for far right authoritarian fascist type shit is, try cutting yourself off from the rest of the world. And just whatever you believe is just whatever you believe. Yeah, yeah. The fire was set intentionally to draw the firemen, to put them down, to call in the EMTs, put them down. Yeah, yeah. Up in Trump country, yeah. And you know what's craziest? You know what's craziest? You know what I thought I had? How many people I know that are like moving to the Dakotas? And you're like, why would the fuck would you move? Oh, didn't that happen somewhere else before? Yeah, and like your worst nightmares, Dirty Bad. Far Cry 5, you fight a family using faith to be evil. Yeah, but I think in 6 is the one that's actually in the northwest part of the United States, isn't it? Isn't that the beginning of 6? Or is it? It's not 4. And none of the earlier. But hey, Far Cry. If you ever want to play a great video game series, Far Cry is great. hmm But yeah, the video games have been tackling this shit for. I know this is a Far Cry reference. I heard you found a cheeseburger. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. You're probably right. Maybe it's 5. I think it might be 5. 5 is the one that's super spooky. Oh, my body started aching thinking about Far Cry. Far Cry is tough. You missed what? What do you mean you quit? You quit what? Yes, agree. They talk fast. What's crazy is I'll play a video game and I actually pay attention and shit, and sometime I'm like, well, that's anti-immigrant. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I'm not doing that mission. I'm fucking abandoning that shit. And then, what up, Lindsay? But yeah, I do that shit all the time where I actually think about the mission that I'm being sent on and I'm like, you want me to do what? Do I have to do that in order to like keep going? Okay, well, we can just play a different game. I don't have to keep doing this shit. Those are fucking sure. Yeah. Like that's why I think it's hilarious because I play Final Fantasy and that was shit was originally written in Japanese, and as a result, one of the things I've learned as I've gotten older is you broaden your horizons and start like trying to like learn multiple languages. You realize how there isn't a direct translation between like English and Japanese and English and Chinese, and I'm guessing Chinese and Japanese probably doesn't translate very well. Um, But yeah, one of the things I recognize in Final Fantasy is I'm like, wow, that's like the worst way to write that. Holy shit. Yeah, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Yep. And there was a game before that, Atlas, that was um kind of like that same premise. The like open world shit. I used to play the hell out of that too, but I can't. I mean, obviously, we're talking about other shit. But yeah, yeah, definitely not the. I'm not the um I may have played Call of Duty for a long time, but I'm not the warmongering type. Um, like I joined the Marine Corps because I knew that there was a fight coming and I didn't know when it was gonna happen or why. And when I say fight, and I wanted to be like a difference maker in the fight. So like an assaultman that does like demolition and rockets and shit. Like one trigger pull changes the whole complexity of the battlefield. Cha. But not because of like a warmonger, but because good decisive action tends to alter uh all kinds of shit. And if you're like good at deciding when to use your hypo shit, ballistics and wildlands. Is Wildlands one where the bullets travel too slow? I think that mean why I quit playing that. But yeah, now I'm completing life objectives. My wife is currently leveling uh as a healer in Final Fantasy 14. Well, she's not leveling as a healer. You can't do that to start the game because you basically got to get to level 30 till you need a party. But yeah. But yeah, I'm currently checking off boxes. So I'm about to start summoning Ifrit and Garuda and fucking Titan and yes, yes. That's the thing about gun games that has always pissed me off is the guns fundamentally like they either operate unrealistically poorly or unrealistically like if any of y'all played Call of Duty, you want to talk about some unrealistic ass shit? Let me tell you about DMR culture, okay? I, your boy, was the sharpshooter in Weapons Company in 2-2 for like 18 months. So there are the snipers who get like a 223, it's a scoped rifle, they train separately. And then there's your boy with just the ACOG on an M4 that had actually shot at unknown ranges. I did that at boot camp, right? And then as a result of doing it at boot camp, they were like, Malat, you're going to unknown distance range. Like, oh shit. Okay. So I have fired all of your weapons at distance, and as a result of being like a video gamer, When you watch, oh, I'm pissed. Oh, I'm pissed. The DMR in Call of Duty, you pull the trigger and it hits the person. Like you pull the trigger, the bullet hits the person. Like you don't understand, man. The fucking bullet speed on that DMR was fucking retarded. Like that's not even a good way to describe it. It is so crazily beyond what you are allowed to fathom. Like imagine firing a bullet and it takes so little time for the bullet to go from your rifle to the target that before that first bullet hits, the second one's on the way. And the trigger pull, one bullet per trigger pull, and you've put like 4 rounds on someone at hundreds of yards away and accurately. And not only is there's zero recoil, but the gun stays on target too. And they had to, yes, Atlas and I are clearly having a different conversation. They had to take damage off the DMR. They had to nerf its max effective range. They had to nerf how fast you could pull the trigger because remember it is a single fire weapon. Because people were basically using it as a full auto because it had no recoil. You pull the trigger, you're putting a lethal round on someone in no time, and you're not having to realign your target and keep firing on target. You're on target with before the second trigger pull, you're back on target. It was a crazy time period to be playing video games because you went from everybody is spraying and praying and trying to snipe from way out there to now they can use a DMR, hit you from around the corner, pretty much not really shooting from the hip, but with like a DMR, yeah. Yes, like a match trigger is crazy. Basically, when you pull the trigger, once you let it go like halfway, you could pull the trigger again. It is the craziest time period to ever play video games. It's the first time ever you were like, this is so unrealistic. I can't believe this isn't a video game. All the other guns sucked. Like, were not functional comparatively. Now they've got some balance. Like, I went back. People are playing with the SMG, with a AR, with a sniper, with running around with dual pistols. I don't care about any of that. No. The gist of this is every video game you've ever played when it comes to a firearm, they don't have bullet tracking that is anything like that. Bullets move way faster. They just don't move that fast. And it's like they screwed it up on everything else. And it's because all these gun manufacturers don't want people to know how absolutely broken their shit is. There's a reason they have body armor in Call of Duty, and that's because, bro, one round enters from a NATO 5.56. One round enters the human body, and it compartmentalizes and goes all over the insides. So you would be hit, hurt, and bleeding out from the inside minimum with one entry hole from one bullet. Now make it into a video game. It's not fun. It's not fun. Dude, you get nicked, and all of a sudden, like, you're bleeding out. And that's because, again, like I said, a NATO 5.56, when it enters, it compartmentalizes. It breaks up into little pieces, and it just, like, shreds your insides. They're not putting that in a video game. They got body armor, right? No there needs to be one-shot sniper kills. People hate it. Gamers can't stand one-shot sniper kills. They can't stand one-shot sniper kills to the point where they put glint into the game. I just want you to know, if a sniper was going to shoot at you, guess what you would never see in a million fucking years? Glint off of their scope. Nope. Nope. No, you just die. But people hate it so bad. Y'all wanted this gun game so bad that when I sit in the corner of the map up in a bush and get 9 of you from across the map and have people leaving death threats on my social media. Hmm. Yep. If you go back and look at my Twitter, every now and then I would get somebody like, "Yo, you just fragged me on fucking Call of Duty. I hate you." Armor Reforger has no glint. I might have to play Armor Reforger. I'm not a fan, so I don't play them. Like I don't play Fortnite, I don't play um DayZ, I don't play Call of Duty. I don't have those things installed anymore uh because of all of that shit. I realized all the gun game stuff is kind of dumb. Maybe Armor Reforger can save me. Yeah, you ain't the first person to tell me like you should be playing Armor Reforger. But yeah, here's the thing that I've come to. I don't understand how you could be anti-immigrant and a Christian. I think we need to start having that conversation. How do you call yourself religious? Period. How do you call yourself religious and you're anti-immigrant? I'll go. Jesus was an immigrant. We need to be having more conversations. Atlas, that shit will tilt me too. No crosswind, no having to account for windage. But yeah, and I want to point out, Atlas made sure to point this out. The reason that it's unrealistic, like all of these gun games are unrealistic, is because they don't have licenses to show you accuracy and try to do it. Like, I'm kind of the person where one of the reasons that I never really got into guns when I came home for the military is because I didn't really have the money to maintain those firearms, and like I didn't feel safe enough where I was that I could like buy a firearm, bring it into my where I live, and like not disappear, right? And so now I've lived in like a safe neighborhood for a while, and I finally have a job where like, well, we're not quite paycheck to paycheck. We have to reel in our spending, and we'll be living a lot better. But I'm finally at an income point where it's like, oh, now I can protect myself, right? Devs, that's what I was getting at. Like, obviously, we talked about video games a little bit today. Hopefully, you got understood from someone that was actually in the military that shot all of these weapons. In fact, my sort of job within my unit, my staff sergeant was training me to be a staff sergeant one day. And so my job was to learn all of the available weapon systems and learn them well enough to be able to teach them to the people that use them that are supposed to know more than you so they can teach you what you don't know and you can teach them what you've learned. And so as somebody that's actually fired a Mark 19 in my life, uh, it's not as realistic as it should be. Your grenade's not moving fast enough in the air. Like when you fire a toe, the fact that it's not, you can't see the wire, the fact that when you shoot the toe, when the rocket exits the tube, before it achieves ignition, there's not a little dip. If there's not that little, the rocket shoots out of your toe, and then you see the rocket hit and you see the tow missile dip a little bit and woof, but you can see the wire because they're wire guided. Yeah. Gabby said we're all immigrants. We all live in yeah. I mean, when I think about my pasty white ass skin and my name, you can trace that back to Northern England. I am an immigrant. My great grandfather is not from here. The Malots own a big ass farm in Northern England. Hmm. It's a cattle farm. That's where I'm from. I'm an immigrant. I should go back. Doesn't sound awful. I bet you they drink beer. Atlas said, "Look, I hate capitalism, but you have to give it to the standards our government holds our for defense contractors." We're about to find out. Yeah, because if there were no standards, think about all the failed fighter jets that all those defense contractors would have been produced in for the world. Bob said, "Have a pistol I can't take care of was bought for me." That's wild. Who bought you a firearm? Bob, I don't mean to dig. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to think about, I trying to put myself in the brain space to purchase a fucking gun for another human. I mean, if it was your wife, I can just live with that. I'm just fine with that. But if it's like a coworker or like a farm life doesn't sound half bad. It's a lot of work. Most of our bodies are not prepared for that. We already have failed F-35s. Don't get me talked about failed aircraft, Atlas. You don't want me going on about the fucking Osprey. I'm probably one of the only people you know that have ever seen an Osprey crash in person on some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Want me to tell you? Let's tell this story. So, and you can check me. You can check me. This actually fucking happened. It wasn't me. I was an observer. I just observed. So we did CAX. Yes, Atlas. We did CAX at AP Hill in Virginia. And your boy had one fucking arm. My shit was in a sling. I was still before surgery. Okay? So I was literally like this driving a fucking Humvee from Jacksonville, North Carolina to fucking Fort AP Hill in Virginia. It was like a 9 hour car ride or some shit like that. So I had to do the gas mask with a sling and shit. Whatever. I think on day like 2 or 3, I want to say this was Tuesday or Wednesday, and we were there for like, I don't remember how long we were there. This was like the first few days we were there. Okay. If I remember correctly, this was Charlie Company. I could be wrong. Okay. But they're doing, think like shipboarding exercises because we were going to be on a boat. So they were getting on and off Osprey. So they would load up an Osprey, it would take off, it would fly around, it'd come back, it'd land, it'd take, get those people off that Osprey, it'd put another group of people on, and then they'd go fly around and come back. And they were literally just doing it in the fucking grass, right in front, not on a helipad, not at an airport, just in the middle of the grass in front of the barracks. Dead ass. Okay? And so, not in Charlie Company, I'm just in weapons, and I'm thinking about all the ways this can go wrong. For the record, there was loose gravel. That was my concern, and that you're going to put some of that gravel in somebody's fucking eyeballs. And I'm going to my staff sergeant, like, hey, staff sergeant, who do I got to talk to get that fucking Osprey pilot off that gravel parking lot where they're slinging around fucking gravel everywhere? And he was like, thanks, Malat. Give me just a moment. For the record, I got to sit with the sergeant major when that shit ended because your fucking boy was like, hey, man, my little Lance Corporal over here is just wondering why the fuck our Ospreys are trying to land in a gravel parking lot. Why the fuck? So they moved it to the grass. And what I watched was after they'd done this for a while, okay, the captain goes. And the captain's like a big guy, not a fat guy. He's just a tall guy. Okay. They load up aircraft of people and they had a straggler. They had a straggler that was kind of struggling to get on the Osprey because the shit was like, it was like off the ground a little bit. Like it was a little bit off the ground. So like it was a little bit of a leap to get into the Osprey, and a guy hit shin first. That shit sucks, bro. Like falls down, has to get up, and this captain like grabs him by the belt and lifts him into the Osprey and pushes his ass. And you're like, if this weren't like a 20-foot tube with a bunch of people sitting like this, whose feet are like crossing, and this dude's not just gonna trip and fall on everybody, you're okay with the grab his ass, throw him into the back of the Osprey. But he got in. He got on. And he tried to move real quick, going from the back of the Osprey to the front of the Osprey because he's a fucking leader. And I'm dead ass. That Osprey, it was leaned back like this. He pushed that guy. It was level. He get on and start walking on it, and the fucking uh rotors, which were not the rotors. No, he did this. He did this. Sorry. So the one of the like it tilted like it to one side, and the rotor hit the ground and fucking and like whoa, like one whole rotor from a Osprey like flung around us. It was fucking crazy. You were like, oh god, we're all gonna die. Nobody died. Uh, some people were pretty shaken up that were on the Osprey. I remember the captain getting fucking yelled at. And for the record, you have not lived and been in the military than when the top of the tippy top of your food chain is getting his shit chewed. Uh, and nobody is on not on that list. Um, and because of your boy, because think about how bad that would have been if it would have happened on a gravel fucking parking lot where they were initially fucking trying to land a Osprey. And so your boy was like, "Hey, you gonna do that dumbass shit in the grass, please?" And they crashed the fucking Osprey. Hmm. Yeah. So again, I would point out that that was a Marine's fault, not the aviator. Just want to point that out. That was not the pilot's fault. You guys have a great day. Everybody's ducking out because they're like, Jared's talking about stupid shit. I see you all. I see you all. Because I'm not talking about shooty shooty bang bang. I'm talking about people making dumbass decisions. Y'all are like, "No, this isn't interesting." I'm just giving you a hard time. Well, based on this article, I know where Donald Trump's going next. Is it Edragon in Turkey? Actually seems to get started off like a good idea. Here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it. You have troop transport, right? Like a think a Navy Sea Knight, right? You have troop transport and you have Harriers. What do you need an Osprey for? Right? Like if we have the Harrier, which can take off and land vertically, right? And it has the rotating engines. So it can take off vertically, maintain stabilization in the air, turn its fucking engines and go. Okay? If you have that and you have troop transport, like a Sea Knight, which is like a huge Navy helo, your boy got to be on a Sea Knight. Um, Mexico went big on LGBTQ pride. It was beautiful. Yeah, that's what I watched this weekend. A lot of pride events happened this weekend, and then I thought about what would the attendance at that last protest been like here in Indy if it hadn't been for the pride protest. Don't get it twisted about the Osprey. It looks useful. Like when you look at an Osprey, you're like, yeah, that fucks. Nope. Nope. It is the fucking worst. Nah, nah, fam. Small group troop transport. You could put 2 fire teams on that. That's about it. 10, 12, 15 people maybe. I'm probably wrong. You could probably How many Marines go on an Osprey? 24 combat equipped Marines. I didn't know that. I was thinking like half of that tracks. 24 is like that's a full platoon. 24 is 4 fire teams and 4 team leaders, right? I can be wrong. Think about so for an Osprey, think about okay, like you need to land vertically because of trees. You can't fly in, there's not a runway. You got to land vertically and take off vertically because of trees. And you got to transport like multiple people. But you got to fly forward fast enough to evade anti-air. And maybe not evade anti-air is not what I mean. Evade low-level anti-air. An Osprey pilot is going to check me on that and say, actually, the motors aren't powerful enough to create enough speed for us to dodge shit. So the Osprey's goddamn worthless is pretty much the crux of what I was getting at. That shit's whack. hmm And they're, you want to excite me? C-130, B-52, the B-2. I could go for days. Fighter jets, all of them. So. I actually thought the F4 Phantom, right? That was a dope ass airplane. Y'all ever seen the F4 Phantom? It's a sweet looking fucking aircraft. McDonnell Douglas. Here, I'll post a link to the Wikipedia. You can check it out. And the A10. Who doesn't like the sound of Bushwhacker 35 Mike incoming? But yeah, there's the F4 Phantom. A large fighter jet can go Mach 2.2. It's a slower jet. It was retired in 96 in the US. Anyway, have a fantastic Monday. Started with a little bit of war. What's it good for? End up with a little bit of eat the rich, right? I'm gonna go feed my dogs, go to work, do the damn thing. Try not, try not to get too triggered about shit you can't control. Remember, Donald Trump always chickens out. So while he may have done the worst thing already, he may have done the worst thing already. The worst thing being uh, kidnap and traffic people who might be American citizens while they're handcuffed together and dumping them out of a cargo aircraft because ICE doesn't have any money left, which means they don't have any money to negotiate with these foreign countries to take our people, which would lead you to, I don't know, dumping them out of the back of a cargo aircraft. So have a great day, everybody.